So on 5 mark.
You want to do the intro this time?
Or do you want to?
Oh, we should let Josh do it.
Yo, we should let Josh do.
All right, so as soon as he counts down to 0, Josh, I'm going to need you to just be like, hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the PorchFitcks podcast. And I'm going to need you to really seduce them.
Yeah.
Like, maintain eye contact with the camera and, like, just let it go nice and smooth. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, we got this.
I'm not that smooth.
All right, and 5. And,
I've been married
4,
for like 16 years.
And 3.
3.
And a 2.
2.
1.
Josh,
Hello,
take it away.
everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the PorchFitcks podcast.
Oh, beautifully done, sir. Beautifully done.
Best I could do.
Hey, I loved it. It was amazing.
It is what it is.
It was very, very, very well done.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, no, seriously, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the PorchFitcks podcast. For those of you that are actually returning, hi.
Hi.
I know it's been a bit of an interesting week since our last episode, and we're not apologizing, so we're just going to get that out of the way right now. Number 2, I am very, very pleased to inform all of you and announce our first Survivor guest.
Yeah.
Happens to be a friend of mine from back in the good old program days. We got our buddy Josh Hubler.
Hey, Hoobs, baby.
Really fucking good to see you, dude. It is amazing to see you, man.
Now, just before we continue, well, I knew Josh, okay? We weren't friends, but he gave me a lot of mints and creamsicle suckers because I would let him just write me consequences all day. Because
you mean cream savers?
Whatever.
Cream savers.
You know what
you
I
said
meant.
creamsicle suckers, and I don't think we had creamsicle suckers in there.
I did not have.
Nope.
I had the cream savers, and I had the good chocolate ones, like all the time.
Yes, you did. Those were Those were the bomb diggity. Yes, I said bomb diggity.
The chocolate ones and the caramel ones were amazing.
Yeah, they were. Thank you for those.
See, I did very much like the strawberry one, but then the peaches and cream was.
Peaches.
Anyways, let's not
continue.
reminisce on candy. But well, yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted to start this off really quick. So you saw, I'm assuming that you listened to the John Free episode.
I did. Yeah, I actually listened to it. I subscribed and everything last weekend. I tried to listen to it on the airplane, downloaded, and then as we take off, all of a sudden the signal goes out and it says I cannot continue, even though the episode was downloaded on my device. So I finished it when I got in and listened to it with Rhett.
Oh, that is super fun. So if you said you went through and you subscribed, and also you wound up getting to the portion where we ever so lovingly passed on your message.
I did. I gotta say that I thought that, first of all, thank you guys so much for passing on the message.
Told you we would, brother. We told you we would.
That was awesome. Like, yeah, that made my week right there. But I really saw a shift in his whole attitude and demeanor over the course of by the end of episode 1, you can kind of see it. But then by 2, the end of 2, you can tell that he realized that he had a negative impact on some of us. And, that he maybe didn't think that certain things were wrong, but by the end of that second part, he definitely realized that they were.
Yeah, he goes as far as acknowledging the fact when it comes to, when I brought up, even him, just that little mind fuck that he would do with all of us, right? Where he would have that smart ass fucking comment or that cocky little comeback. And when I said that to him, and bro, and I said it made me wish I could get up and kick you with a fucking dick. It pissed me the fuck off. And he was you could, if you look at his face, he's kind of taken back by it, fuck, really? But then at the same time, he's yeah, that I can't say that doesn't sound like me. That sounds exactly like something. I was yeah, because
that's what I'm saying. He took ownership. That's, I guess for me, because there's no love there. It's not like I like John Free, but for me, it really kind of, it just shows that people can change over time. And I just think back to when I was around that age of a dorm parent and where I was at in my life, and I was not in a good place. nor was I doing good things for my community or anything like that. Like,
fair.
Yeah.
I just, yeah, I can relate. I can relate to, you know, him saying he was trying to feed his kid. You know, I get that. Like,
And
I'm not
as
saying that I forgive him or anything like that, but
yeah,
yeah,
and
I can
as
understand.
and as I said, like it doesn't excuse. Like I've said this in other interviews and whatnot, and since the podcast, I've even said it to him too. Like it doesn't excuse his past, and it doesn't excuse what he had done, but him kind of taking like this righteous path of like trying to in a way right what he did wrong and acknowledging that,
Mhm.
I think kind of elevates the fact that like not the documentary had way more of an impact than just us on students and people who weren't around, because he said when he looked at it, this isn't going to be fucking good for anybody. Like he talks about it in the beginning, and like you see how he even started realizing things, and he said it. Like there was things in the documentary he didn't realize until talking to us, like really
Mhm.
like what some of that shit was. And I thought that was like the coolest part about that podcast, just to be honest.
Exactly, because I feel like he didn't like have a whole lot of interaction with people who didn't like him after the program. Like he did have interactions with students where it was like he had a good relationship with,
Yeah.
and so that just, you know, reinforces his idea that like he didn't really do anything wrong up there or whatever for
Yeah.
years. But then the program comes out, and you know, yeah, it rocked some people's worlds. I mean, I know I was shaking a little bit when I mean the whole week leading to it coming out. Like I was, yeah, I was shook. I
Oh
was
yeah.
worried that it wasn't gonna do us justice or whatever, and I think it was I I think it was done fantastic. Like it checked all my boxes.
What was it like for you watching that? Like,
Well, hold up before we get into that.
oh,
We need to establish a little bit of background when it comes to Josh. So, first things first, because we introduced him, but we didn't really introduce him. So,
fair point.
for those of you that are going to be listening to this after the fact, we're going to get this a little bit started. So, Josh, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself? Like anything you want, you can be as much or as little as you want. Just just let us know about you, sir.
I mean, right now the key thing in my life is I'm a dad. That's probably priority number one, and I'm a husband, and then, you know, a friend and a good employee now. I've had multiple struggles with addiction and issues with, you know, the basically self medicating from PTSD, all stemming from Ivy Ridge and prior to Ivy Ridge. I was in Casa by the Sea, June to September of 2004. And then I was immediately transferred when Casa closed to Ivy Ridge in September, and I didn't get out until May of 2006. I was only discharged. I was supposed to graduate. I think another like 6 weeks or so, I probably would have graduated. But I got so sick that I almost died in there, and I was finally medically discharged after a month of painkillers and trips to the emergency room. Um,
Jeez.
yeah, yeah, it wasn't a
All
good
right.
time.
Yeah.
Well, we're
See,
definitely gonna have to touch on that a little bit more here.
yeah. See,
Here in a bit.
I only know like when I was there in 05, like toward the end of my stay in 05 is when you started getting like sick and were on sick bed, and then you'd be
Mhm.
good for a little bit, and then it would be like, where'd fucking Hoobs go, bro? Like, where's he at? And he'd be like, I remember Jack being like, he's fucking sick again, dude. Like, fuck. All right, well. But yeah, so like we'll touch on that later, because that's something I don't really know anything about. Like that's an interesting part of your story, to say the least.
Well, yeah, as I said, we're gonna cover the initial bases, and then we're just gonna let you talk. So, because it's us, and we want to kind of stroke the ego a little bit, because we got to do this. So,
No, we're just
so
passively manipulating them.
in the typical context of it. So, how'd you hear about the podcast, and why did you decide you wanted to actually be on it?
I heard about the podcast probably in the, you know, our Ivy Ridge Survivor group. That's pretty much the only group that I consistently follow and stay in touch with. Just because it's just a lot to take on when you start mixing all the other programs and you know, other
Yeah.
people and parents and stuff. It's just too much. So I definitely would have heard about it in there. And then as soon as I saw it, you know, I like to support any survivors in their efforts, like whatever they're doing. if I can get behind somebody's GoFundMe for this or that, or, you know, helping fund tickets for Survivor Prom and stuff like that. Like, I'm about helping because I've been there. Like, and it's a shitty feeling. So I don't want anybody to feel like that. So I do my best to try to help out where I can. Saw you guys, immediately went on, download. I didn't even have Twitch, so downloaded Twitch, subscribed to the channel on there, and then when you guys put out the John Free episode, I actually downloaded Spotify too, because I've been a Pandora guy forever.
We're on Pandora now too, by the way. So if you want to listen on Pandora, you can from now on.
Okay, cool. So and then I subscribed and listened to part 2 of the John Free interview, and yeah, I mean, that was solidified. I mean, I definitely wanted to be on the show at some point, but when you guys started to kind of get a little kickback from the interview and all that, I was like, oh yeah, I have no problem getting on the show. Like, I don't care who doesn't like me. I mean, there's plenty of people that don't like me, but I'm still gonna, spread the word, and even hate gets attention. So,
well, we appreciate you for that, bud, because you've always, even like back to the Ridge, you know what I mean? Like I said, we weren't tight, but like even then, you would always try to look out for like those of us on the lower levels and shit, and try to give people the heads up. So like, that's something about you that even from then I've always been like, he's a good dude. Like that's a good dude right there. So you doing that, bro, just even more solidifies the fact that you're a good dude, bro. And we really appreciate that, man.
I appreciate you saying that, because like, and I'm sure Jack probably felt it too. Like, some of that guilt from all the part that we played when we were working our way through the program and everything, like, yeah, I still feel bad about some of those shifts working a family and like lighting kids up with corrections because I had to, or just any of the shit we had to get involved in that I just feel like we shouldn't have been involved in. Like, my mom was paying good money for me to be there, and I'm working 14-hour shifts in the kitchen and working a family like a dorm parent, and if I have enough time, I still have to pass my track and make sure I pass one test. I got dropped by Randy Garvey because I work kitchen like 5 days in a row. 5 days in a row I work kitchen. It's like Saturday, 20 minutes before we have to go to dorm 2. I need to take a test so I can pass my track. Garvey will not let me take a test. I'm like, screw it. I run into the computer lab, take the test real quick, leave. He drops me. Right there, another 6 weeks, like, on lower levels.
Oh, what a dick!
To touch on what you just said about the whole thing, like with the guilt and the kickback, kind of from when you were working it. So last week when we did our little web show, I actually got my e-files, and the very last file on there was a statement of fact that I had to write because I restrained somebody, and it was because he was beating the shit out of this kid in the fucking bathroom.
Yeah, I had a couple of similar experiences. I don't have the statement of facts for them. Interesting thing is, like, my e-files just disappeared. Not by any of the survivors or anything like that. I 100% believe that Ivy Ridge tried to erase all records of me. My medical stuff is completely gone as well.
Well, I mean,
so
I wouldn't even remotely be surprised.
I mean,
there was 15. I think I had 15 documents that came through. It was like a couple of emails from my mom, and that was it.
I mean, according to what John Free said on our podcast, they actively eliminated, deleted, and threw away statement of facts and whatever other records they thought were not a good look or would affect them in any way. I mean, he said as much with the statement of facts written against dorm parents that could be detrimental later on. They fucking just, whoop, this doesn't exist.
I mean, I 100% believed it. I went back to Ivy Ridge in, I think it was 2014, and got my files and got my stuff and got some of my friends' files and sent them out.
That's awesome.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was awesome. I got a GoPro and I like skateboarded through the halls. It was a great experience. It was a great experience.
Not surprised.
Yeah, I like, it was, I don't know, like, I had just gotten out of rehab and like was trying to get my life together, and like I just needed direction, I guess, and like that was just such a weight that was holding me down that I was like, all right, I'm gonna just do it. Like, I'm just gonna go up there and just be done with this. And I did, and for a while that it held me over. But then, like, you know, the memories start flooding back and the nightmares start coming, and you know, then you got to deal with it again.
So, in just a general sense, you had talked about how you started off at Casa and then you got transferred over to Ivy Ridge. So I kind of want to touch on that. So, towards a little bit later on in that, I really just want to know what the difference, like the main difference is that you notice for it. But just as a general sense, just to kind of give you the floor and let you really just kind of hash it all out, what was your program experience like?
I went through different phases in the program. So like I had my phase like Nick for the first few months after. So when I transferred from Casa, I had like gotten a bunch of points. Like I had the points like transferred from Casa. So like I had come over with like 1,500 points.
Oh, I didn't know they
And
transferred that shit. That's
oh
okay.
yeah, they
That's
transferred
interesting.
it and our school records, which was like awesome because that's the big difference. Like the dorm parents did not speak English, so we were like talking and stuff, but like they couldn't understand what we were saying. So like we were cheating
And
our
vice
asses
versa.
off. I finished my freshman year before I even left Casa. 3 months, a whole freshman year. So
Just
Oh
that was
man.
the big difference. The rules were a
God
little.
damn it.
The rules were more lax, honestly. Like we had more free time, and other than like the whole talking thing where like you had to have 3 people to talk because they didn't want anybody to like make plans, and then somebody had to be, I
Oh.
think, a level 3. So if you wanted to like get help on your schoolwork, you either had to get help from a level 3 or a level 3 had to be sitting next to you guys while you were getting help from like a level 2 or a level 1.
Oh, so
So
like
the
if one of your
typical third rule.
The third rule, yes.
so
Yeah,
like if
okay.
one of
And
your
that was like
boys was level
strictly
3, you were
enforced.
good.
The only other rule that was enforced that I still do to this day is we had to say excuse me every time you walk past a staff member. Every time I'm walking past anybody now, I still say excuse me. And I got
Yeah.
multiple corrections for it in Ivy Ridge because we were not allowed to do that. Like we weren't allowed to say excuse me or talk in line formation at all. And yeah, I would get, because it was just that's how programized I got in 3 months. But I really went with the program in Casa. Like I thought Casa was I did not get transported. My uncle took me to Casa. I agreed to go. They sold me on this website with jet skis and surfing and scuba lessons. And yeah, it was summer camp. I got there and it wasn't summer camp, but then again, it wasn't like the worst thing ever. And like the dudes that were in my family were pretty chill. And I don't know, I like read a lot of books and we watched a lot of movies and stuff. Like we had a lot more like movie time and shit like that. The weather was awesome. Like, we were literally on the water in Baja and Ensenada in Baja, California. So like right there on the Pacific.
So it sounds like it was
And
more of just like a regimental structure
yeah, it
of
was just like
life kind of a
structured
thing.
school kind of thing. And then they would throw in the brainwashing seminars, every 6 weeks.
Ah,
So, I mean,
so
that still
still
happened.
still program like not as serious as Ivy Ridge, not as strict as Ivy Ridge, and you still
They did
had
not take
same
like
seminar process?
same exact. I went to orientation there. I was actually slated to go to Discovery like the week after Casa got shut down, which screwed up my
Oh.
whole program. And I'll kind of go from there with that. But when they everything transferred and I went to Ivy Ridge, at some point I had like done somebody's book report for them because like, bro, I can like crush a book. So I did somebody's book report for them and they got like caught because they had taken it out of like my notes thing and they never deleted it from my notes thing. So it was in mine and theirs at the same time. And yeah, so I got boned cat for cheating in school, lost all the points that I had. And as soon as I got into Ivy Ridge, they had done Discovery like 2 weeks before. So now I got to wait at least another month or so before I can even get to level 3.
Oh,
So like that
fuck.
whole waiting period fucked me. So I lost all my points, and that's when I went full Chia follow and fuck the system. Like I
Fuck you.
yeah, I did it for a while. Like I mean, I didn't last near as long as you, Nick. I didn't. I also think that the structure there was a little bit different when I was going through it. Like, yeah, I don't know, that whole like laying on the ground thing and shit. Like that shit broke me. Intervention broke me. Like I couldn't do the solitary confinement, and I lost my mind in there. Like I loved worksheets. Worksheets was dope. Like hanging out with the boys in there. I can't tell you how many dudes promised me like kilos of drugs when I got out, and you know,
Right?
all kinds of, you know, everybody has all these connections. They're gonna hook
Oh
you up.
yeah.
Yeah, all the talk, but it was fun. You know, that was like, I don't know, that was a good time for Ivy Ridge. Like, considering everything else sucked.
The most high school thing in Ivy Ridge was
Yes,
the
it was
fucked
like
up
the
part
most
was
normal part because none of us gave a fuck until one of the dorm parents was an asshole and was like, "All right, you guys took it too far," and slammed somebody off the fucking radiator, or, you know, drags you out to intervention. Or remember that like that double room that was right across from study hall.
Yep.
In dorm 1.
Yep.
Yeah, I got pulled into that room multiple times. Like, you know, they say cameras are everywhere and blah blah blah. There was multiple spots where they, you know, you literally walked into one step across the hall and boink. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm
My
well
face
aware.
kept that for. Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm well aware. There's
It
more
was-
than just a couple of rooms where the cameras don't catch the whole thing. I can promise you that one.
So I did that for a while. I remember. I'm gonna talk about this one, because I remember it vividly. So like it was like my 3rd or 4th day in, and it was nighttime. The motion sensor alarms. You guys remember those fucking things?
Right outside the window.
So the motion sensor right outside the window. So the motion sensor alarm went off in the middle of the night. But this was the first time I had ever experienced a motion sensor alarm going off in the middle of the night and that loud noise. I also sleep like the fucking dead. So I slept through the motion sensor alarm. And that was the last time I think I ever slept, you know, solid in my life. Derek Wood came in. He was our dorm parent on duty. He pulled me off that top bunk, tossed me into the wall. I hit the floor and then into the hallway where I lost consciousness. And then he stood me up on the wall and held me up there while I counted off and then pushed me back in my room.
One of the that's one name I haven't heard in quite some fucking time. Right there.
Yeah. I guess he was not happy about waking up in the middle of the night. I certainly did not. Like I said, I was still following the program when I first went. It was really that first month that I was still doing the program. Ivy Ridge was so much harder to like follow the rules, and they played so many games. Like, if you piss somebody off, they could light you up with corrections for the dumbest shit. Like,
yeah.
It wasn't like that in Mexico. It really wasn't. They didn't do that. They were really just kind of there to make sure we didn't die or kill each other. Like that, and that was cool. Like, we were cool with them. They were cool with us. The restraint shit didn't really happen unless somebody was like fighting or whatever, and they would like, you know, break it up. But it wasn't like, at least that was my experience. I don't know if that was everybody's experience because, like I said, I followed the program while I was there. I just didn't see that much stuff going on, I guess. Now, I spent more time cheating in school and with my nose in a book.
Now, would you say you witnessed restraints way more frequently at Ridge than you would at Casa?
Yes, absolutely. Because everybody was chill at Casa. Like, the difference between intervention at Ivy Ridge and the intervention at Casa was like, I think the intervention at Casa, and I was never in there, but I want to say it was like a shed that they like locked you in. So nobody wanted to go in a hot ass shed, like, and sit in there.
Fair.
I don't remember. Like, yeah, it wasn't like, I don't know. I remember a couple of times like trying to go to intervention, and I definitely would not have done that in Mexico. I mean, like in Ivy Ridge.
Yeah, no. No. I mean, as far as like you talking about like when you were upper level and all that, how different was it? How different was that from school to school? Because I mean, you weren't an upper level at Casa from what it sounds like.
Level 2.
But I
could only get to 2 because I didn't hit Discovery. So I mean, if I had made it through, I could have voted up.
But you had seen the upper levels or whatnot at Casa, so knowing what you knew from them and what you experienced at Ridge, how different was that?
I mean, the upper levels, I feel like didn't have, and I'm positive about this. I mean, I don't think they had jobs like, I mean, I think they like worked the families and like hung out with the families, but they were also like doing their school and like just like hanging out with us. It wasn't like they really had to do anything. But they didn't have like kitchen and like cleaning the facility and laundry and all that shit. Like they had people that did those jobs. Like there was actually people working in the facility.
So that you weren't free labor there. That's nice, at least.
Yeah, I mean, we still had to clean like our dorms and shit like that. Like we had to keep well, it wasn't even really a dorm. That was the other difference. So you slept in a hallway and there was bunk beds on both sides. So it was just like a line of bunk beds next to each other in one long hallway.
That's
then
weird.
they had these bright ass, they had the bulbs, but they would have like these windows. So these bulbs would be like in your window, like literally on your face, like a regular fluorescent light bulb all night. So we would like fight for who was getting the bottom bunk underneath the window because that was like no light. And then like we would like strategically like plan on like who was switching and getting the shitty week of sleep and stuff like that. But
take turns of like
that was a big difference. Like everybody lived together, everybody. So we were all, if there was one kid who just did not like showering, well, that son of a bitch was getting a shower.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, that happened at Ridge too. I remember specifically watching a couple of people get dragged into the shower room and like thrown into the showers with a bar soap and being like, fucking scrub. Like, like and watching them scrub. So that was similar.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely enforce. I mean, the heat, like you kind of had to enforce that deodorant and showers, like, and it's weird because like Mexico gets cold at nighttime. Like they don't have the infrastructure here like we have.
The desert.
So where like the city. Yeah, it's like the desert. Like the cities trap the heat because of all the asphalt or whatever. But where we were at, we were like right next to a mountain, so there wasn't really anything to like trap it in. So like at nighttime, we would be wearing like jackets.
Yeah,
because it would get so cold, and we constantly had sunburn because it's not like they gave us sunscreen or anything like that. Like if we were outside for our gym hour or like free time, that was the other thing is I feel like we got more free time. Like Saturday and Sunday were kind of off days, where at Ivy Ridge we just had Sunday off.
Mm-hmm. And even then, it wasn't really off. It was just you got to.
Yeah, I mean we watched a movie and when they gave us a candy bar when they felt like it, or until we rioted.
Remember the Titans. Anyways.
Yeah, the only movie I ever got to watch in fucking Ivy Ridge was the goddamn 10 Commandments 8 million fucking times.
Oh, for educational movie hour? I remember Making Sense in the 60s. Me and Sean Morrison used to request that every single day.
And then the only other video I got to watch was my mom had sent a 9/11 memorial video to like, because...
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
It was like the one 9/11 that I wasn't home for it, obviously, because I was up at the Ridge. So she had it taped, and then she sent me the tape to show me, like, what I had missed and whatnot. And I believe that was the one. That was when she went to D.C., and they gave all the firefighters and cops who had passed away the Medal of Valor. Which I actually still have in the house. But other than that, it's the only other movie I got to watch. Other than that, it was the 10 Commandments on Sundays and educational out. Yeah, that's all it was. And we never made it past the third commandment because that movie is fucking 80 hours long for no fuck reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. So like, when you guys you talk about you guys were was it an hour every day, or like could you go outside multiple times throughout the day?
So, like, the way that the buildings were set up and, like, there was, like, different wings, but, like, you had to go outside to get to the other buildings. So, like, it was all walled off. At one point, I think it was, like, a hotel. So, like, it was, like, a compound, whatever, like, for safety.
Like a resort like compound resorts. Kind of a thing. Okay.
Exactly. So, like, and then there was another program, I think, there at Casa, but on the other side of the wall, where it was like, I don't know if it was kids that graduated that were like doing more stuff, or if it was
maybe kids over 18. I
don't remember. Maybe kids over 18. I really don't remember, but yeah, I remember there being like a wall divider that like a kind of garage door type thing with it opened sideways to go to the other side. And like one time I had to bring a bunch of chairs over there and just like carry them over there.
So,
but yeah, everything was outside. Like you went from building to building through this like courtyard.
So, what was the hardest thing about transitioning from Casa by the Sea to air? Like, what was the for you, what was like the hardest thing to be like, what the fuck? Like, I just left this and I'm here, kind of a thing.
The first thing was how fucking cold it was. Like, so let me just give you a little backstory. When I left Casa, like, my mom made it abundantly clear that I was going directly to Ivy Ridge. Like, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You're not going home to see the rest of the family. You're not going to see your grandmama or your sister. I'm dropping you off with transporters in the morning. Bye.
That had to
what a great way to start that move.
That had to suck, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So when I got up to, it was like 24 hours that I was being transported with these guys, because we had like multiple layovers to get to, like, because they were booking all these flights super last minute. So like they were just trying to get us up there. I think we flew into like Syracuse or Rochester and then had to like drive the rest of the way. It was a nightmare. And there was a couple other kids with me from Casa. I remember there was, I think, 1 or 2 girls and 1 or 2 guys. And there was like 2 transporters, and like they handcuffed us in the beginning, and then they like took the handcuffs off, and they're like, oh, if you guys be cool, like whatever. And then at some point we like switched to new transporters, and the old transporters were supposed to give me a cigarette. So I was pretty pissed that we got new transporters and they were not giving me no cigarettes.
So did they take the cuffs off? Like you went to the airport. So like when you guys got to the airport,
so they cuffed us before we got to the airport, and on the ride to the airport, and they were like, look, we're going to take these cuffs off as long as you guys be cool. If you start acting up in the airport, we're putting the cuffs right back on.
I wonder how that would have gone. Like, you're not with your parents. You're a minor with these random ass adults
who aren't bond agents, who have no authority as far as a legal sense to fucking.
They're not any law enforcement agency. They're not really. I'm assuming that they had some kind of documentation saying, like a contract from our parents saying that they were paying to be transported from here to there.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's what I'm guessing. And if I don't know. I was so tired because I want to say I think I slept in Casa 2 nights after it had shut down before my mom came and got me. So it was not like normal structure. Everybody was wild. I think a couple buildings got set on fire at one point. Like, it was crazy. And then like they had pulled all of our beds. I think the second night they pulled all of our beds out into the courtyard, and we were just sleeping outside. And then like my mom shows up, and then like that's like, I don't know, the first thing that she says to me about going to Ivy Ridge. So I transfer up there.
Nothing about sleeping outside. Nothing about.
No, we didn't talk about the whole.
Here's my bed.
We didn't talk about that.
I mean, not gonna lie, sleeping outside would be kind of dope.
It had its benefits, but it also did not, because it was like very hot and the sun.
True.
And yeah.
True.
So my mom had got me stuff to bring with me to Ivy Ridge, because basically everything from Casa was like gone. Like, I wasn't packing all the shit up. The dorms were trashed, like whatever. So she had got me stuff, and the transporters was like, we have too many kids in the van, so like we're just gonna leave the suitcases. You guys have to ship them. So like whatever I had in like my backpack was what I brought with me, and I was wearing like pajama pants, like goofy ass orangutan pajama pants that like my mom bought me at Target the night before. And like I'm thinking, I'm gonna go to this place and hang out. I don't really know what I'm about to walk into, but I have all my stuff now with me, and now they're telling me no, you can't bring that. Which it probably would have got lost anyway, because we got on like 4 different flights. But
yeah, probably.
So by the time I got up to Ivy Ridge, it was like super late, and Shelby met me at the door, and she had given my mom the parent tour, and I guess my mom had talked to her on the phone, and she's like, oh, I know your mom, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whatever, lady, like, fuck off. Like, it's like 3:00 in the morning at this point. I've been traveling for almost 24 hours. I was in a riot for 2 days. Like, I do not want to chat with you right now. They drop me in the hallway, and I sleep. I sleep in the hallway, and then it's like, I remember the first, I had Mike Wilcox, the old dude that sounded like
Wilcox.
Yeah, that one.
He gave
Sam. The whole family a correction, and I was like, "What? Like,
you can do that?"
I'm like, it had never happened. There wasn't a thing in Casa. Like, that wasn't a thing, and I was like, "Wait, I wasn't even doing anything." Like, here I am. I think it was like that, like quiet journal time or whatever at the end of the night, and I was like sitting there like writing in my fucking journal or like reading a book.
Oh, like the evening group shit.
Yes. So like I'm like, we all just gotta, and it was like a cat 1 or whatever, and I was like, what? And I'm like asking my hope buddy, Earl McDermott was my hope. Well, actually, Mike Morrell was my hope buddy on day 1, and then Earl McDermott was day 2 and 3. I'm asking Mike, like, what the fuck is this? Like, I didn't even do anything. Like, why am I getting a correction? He's like, oh, well, it's for the whole family because, you know, they were being too loud or something like that. I'm like, what the fuck? That's right when I knew, like, this place was going to be bullshit. Like, right then. And you know what I said to fucking Mike Willocks? Staff that shit. And I went to fucking worksheets for the first time.
Jeez.
Nice.
Yep. I was not having it, dude. Like, I'm like, I had just spent the last 3 months learning about accountability and responsibility and like taking ownership of my shit. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I can get on board with that. And then like, it's like, oh wait, you have to take accountability for everybody else's shit too. Cause that's what Ivy Ridge was like talking about. That was another huge difference. That brainwashing bullshit didn't leave the seminar room at Casa. Like it wasn't like everybody was, you know, jerking off their magical child in the facility. That shit was done. Like once that shit was over, you were back into get your ass in structure and you're gonna do what we're gonna do. Don't be a jerk off.
Definitely not at the Ridge.
And man. It was not like that at Ivy Ridge at all.
You walked out of seminars at the Ridge and they're like, all right, now talk about the seminar for the next week.
Everybody's got to get hyped up about seminars. And dude. Oh. I remember seminars like Focus the most. And I remember the first Focus where I got chose out. Oh. I think that was the one that you made it through, Jack.
Yep.
And then I went through.
I can't remember why you got chosen out, though.
Because I wasn't, like, sharing enough. I wasn't, like, I don't know. I didn't really have any issues. Like, I'm not saying I was an unparented teenager all the way up.
You didn't make up the lies to fucking fake it till you made it. That was the problem.
Exactly. So that's what I did not realize that, like, talking about the actual problems I had, like with my abandonment issues with my dad, or, you know, like the weird relationship that me and my mom have after she, like, you know, forced me into like a man of the house role. And then now she's trying to change it to like, I need to be subservient to my new stepdad and listen to her as well. I just like, it didn't work for me. Like, that's what was my problems. Like, that's what I wanted to fix. And they weren't having it. So like
it wasn't enough of a problem.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm just going to say this though. I'm glad you didn't continue in that Focus, because if you were in there, you would have had to see me dress up as a Russian ballerina, and nobody wants to see that.
No, I want to say I think I was
also a ballerina.
You were also?
I was also a ballerina.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And I don't give a fuck. I'm saying it now. Jack, you're full of shit. I want to see that. Like, I would pay for that.
I'm
right
so
now.
glad that
I would put $20 in the PC fund to see that.
Listen, you got to be careful with the PC fund, bro. Listen, the only thing you get from the PC fund is this shirt. All right, that's all you get if you donate to the PC fund. It's a shirt. But you don't even get the shirt from it. You got to buy it at the merch shop.
So I went through the next Focus after Jack's, and I was like, all right, now I got to get like wild with it. And I was like, yeah, I'm gay. I was like, molested. I went to like the next level with it. Like, I just went all out. And then like, I remember getting back to the facility and like people being like, Hubler, you're not gay. I'm like, yeah, but they don't fucking know that. Shut up.
You were passively manipulating, my friend.
I mean,
passively manipulating.
And then, like, once I made it through that and got upper levels, then they stopped giving a shit, like, what I said or did. So, like, I was like, oh, nobody even remembered, you know, what happened.
Well, yeah, because once you get through Focus and all the work is done, it's like principles. Mm-hmm. And, like, that one, you know, here's your anger issues, here's your addiction principles, you know, here's these things.
Yeah, don't listen to Eminem, don't wear songs, shit like that. Like, and I remember going through those and, like, feeling terrible for the girls in there because, like, they just were like slut shamed and fucking just like ridiculed. I don't know. Like, I dealt with my own shit, but like, I feel like I had a pretty tough skin, and like, the shit that they were hitting me with was like surface level, but like with the girls, they just like stuck that shit in there. Like they went deep with it.
Bro, do you remember the times in the seminars when we had to ask for feedback and like, you know, like when it was your boy that would give you the feedback, you'd be like, yo, you know, thanks, man. But like the second it got to a girl that was giving you feedback, you just had to prepare to just get shit all over.
Lit up.
You were about to be reamed. And like everything, they were going to touch every single nerve, everything that hurts you. They were going to target all of it. You're just sitting there like,
yeah.
Okay.
And see, that's why it was easy for me though, because everything that like I came out about and focused and made up, like none of it was real. So like when they were digging at me for being like a homo, I'm like, yeah, that's fucking terrible. Damn. It's crazy too because like 2 of my longest Ivy Ridge friendships were out of fucking my focus. Like,
were the guys
actually,
you were gay
all
with?
3 of them. Like Sean Morrison. I kept in touch with Sean all these years. Nice. Monica Townsend and Lindsay Hawley until she passed.
Oh.
Fuck. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, Lindsay was awesome.
Lindsay was cool.
She was. And you know, that was a hit.
Lindsay was cool as fuck.
She's definitely missed.
Actually, there's a couple from mine as well. Like in Brian Wasserman. That was that one hit me like out of nowhere, dude. I did not expect.
You called me. I remember you calling me.
That was
with that.
Dude, that one got me. That one got me good. And actually, from my orientation and discovery, Rachel Robinson was in my orientation and discovery, and I was devastated when I found out that she passed.
Yeah, when we both heard that, because you called me like, hey, I didn't want you to fucking hear this from anybody else. Like, you called me I remember when you told me Robinson, bro, I like, you were like, dude, you there? I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I'll catch you later. And just click. And I lost my shit for like 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard.
It is. It's affected all of us for many years in many different levels and ways. It's crazy when you think about it, man. Cause like, even some people that weren't even there, like I was only there 9 months. I wasn't even there a full year. And knowing like, even since the documentary came out, like I've been able to piece together a lot more things. And my wife made fun of me because she was listening to the Channel 7 interview. And John Free in that interview mentions how kids still to this day like won't fill their cups up past a certain point. She was like, you still fucking do that. And I was like, shut up. Like, leave me alone. Stop busting my balls. Like,
it is what it is. I mean, I don't think that a lot of that stuff from worksheets, that etiquette shit, like I still do. And I mean, it's not a bad thing, not a bad habit to have. I can still ballroom dance too, homie. I can waltz me up, foxtrot, cha-cha, all that shit.
I wasn't there for any of that. Nope.
Nah, the real test was the polka. Do you remember everybody trying to polka in that room, going around going around in that circle? When they first started teaching everyone and going around, because it's like jump, spin. Yo, people were all over the place. The ballroom dancing was nuts.
That was,
I mean, that was waltz though.
One of the highlights of that place though was the ballroom dancing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was definitely. But while it was very weird to learn ballroom dancing, it was definitely one of those. Like,
and what was the name of that teacher? The lady that used to teach it.
Oh,
I don't know. Yeah,
this is all
Susie.
This is all.
Was it Susie
down there?
Yeah,
Susie. Miss Susie. Oh
yes,
man,
it was.
I had some weird dreams about Miss Susie in the Ridge. Let's just say that.
Oh man,
I think there was staff at every point in time, or not every staff, but there was very specific staff members that all of us guys 100% had more than a dream about. That's no lies. Sorry, we full out truth here.
Nope.
That's dude, that's funny. That's funny you said that. See, it's crazy talking about like the seminar shit because I only made it to Discovery and I was pushed into Discovery. I don't even like.
If you go through it all the way, I still kind of like blocked out some of Discovery. Was that the one where we make the cave in our head? Or was that orientation?
That's orientation, and then you revisit it in Discovery, and that's when you do like
and you
the
refine
tape,
it.
You do like the tape wall and shit in Discovery. But what's funny is like I blended orientation and Discovery together, and I have no fucking clue which is which, because those are the only two I went through. Like, I barely remember them. I do remember flirting with two very specific females in both of those, and getting in trouble for flirting with the both of them to the point where it's written in my documents about one of them about keep an eye on him near this person, and it says for what and why.
Of course you were.
Bro, dude, come on. I was a dog. But like, hearing that shit just makes me laugh.
We didn't have any. My first two were all male. So Focus was the first time that I had interacted with females.
Yeah, but that's fine, because you
like
came out as being gay in the seminar, so that had to be a ball.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fucking awesome. I was everybody's best friend. I think that's kind of how me and Lindsay and Monica became so tight. Like,
because they thought you were gay?
Never really, yeah, I guess.
It was the gay best friend? Sorry.
I'm just the gay best friend.
I wasn't expecting to hear that, and it's just funny.
Oh,
like,
dude, I played that shit up, too. Like, I fucking played the part, for sure.
I can completely see you doing that in your head, like, in my head, like, visualizing that, and then people being like, bro, really? You just being like, shut the fuck up. No, idiot. Like
I want to say, I don't remember if it was Jared McDonald or Free that said it to me. They're like, Hubler, you're not fucking gay. What are you talking about? And I was like, yeah, shut the fuck up. Don't tell anybody.
Free. It had to be.
It might have been Free. Because, like, I was tight with Free for a while I was in there.
That's the only reason why I say it had to be Free, because you were kind of cool with Jared, but y'all weren't tight. Like, you and Free were pretty tight at one point.
Yeah, until that son of a bitch dropped me because I said he sucked, and I spent another 6 fucking weeks on lower levels. And then I was like, fuck this guy.
No, getting dropped really did suck, though.
It was the worst. And, like when you had that kind of relationship where me and him would go back and forth all the fucking time, and then he literally drops me for telling, like, I didn't even call him an asshole or, like, curse at him. I just said, you suck. And fucking 6 weeks on lower levels. Because you never got voted up, like, right away either. Like, they never thought you learned your lesson in 2 weeks. Like, they always made you wait it out. And
even though we could gain points like that when you were on probation and all, and you could sit there, it was like it was nothing. But no, they never wanted you to get back up that quick.
So now that we've kind of touched on all those things, right? Like Focus and like the seminars and like some of your experiences there, when that documentary came out and you watched that documentary, what went through your head watching that, like, episode 1, 2, 3, like, in order? Like, what was, like, how was that experience for you?
I mean, I didn't make it 15 seconds in before I was, like, in full tears. Like, the Academy and Ivy Ridge sign in the beginning, like, in the trailer was enough to have me, like, all messed up for, like, a good week.
It gave me chills, so yeah, I understand that.
You know, I went through and I watched all 3 episodes, like, back to back, and, like, I kind of been planning it out, and I was like, all right, well, I might take the day off of work, and then I decided not to do that. And then, like, my kids have baseball practice, and I had, like, a window in between that I could have watched it, and I was like, nah, I don't want to get, like, all upset before, you know, I take the kids to practice or whatever. And so I got home, and I watched it with my wife, and, yeah, like, she was there, you know, holding my hand, because I don't know if I would have went through the whole thing, like, in one shot like that if I didn't have her there for support, because it was a lot. Like, it was a lot to unpack, and like the feelings that Catherine was having, and I just, like, related, like, the whole not being believed, and you know, like, I'm not done talking about Ivy Ridge, and I might never be, like, that. It just spoke from my soul. Like, it was like my soul speaking through Catherine's voice, and I related. I really did. I thought it was done excellent. I hate to know the pain that Catherine was going through to get to the point where she felt she had to make a documentary. Like, she must have really been going through it, and the courage it take to pull that off. Like, I had tried back when when I went up there, I filmed a little bit, and, like, I was going to just make a, like, video on YouTube or whatever. And I had, like, edited for, like, 8 hours and had, like, a 30 or 45 second clip. And I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. Like, I'm just not I dumped all the footage on YouTube and was like, hey, if anybody wants to check out what Ivy Ridge looks like now in 2014, like, here it is. And then just kind of left it there. So she's very brave. A lot of courage it took to get there and do that. And then all the other people that were involved and everything like that, yeah, it took a lot of strength. And I'm proud of all of them. Like, they did awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy because, like you mentioned, like her coming up to the point where she's like, where she felt like she had to do documentary. Watching it at one point when she talks about how, like, while she was in there, like, it was something that, like, she kind of knew she had to do. Like, having that foresight, like, bro, like, the only thing I could think of was, I can't wait to fucking get out of here and, like, burn every memory in my fucking brain. Nevertheless, wanting to make a documentary to, like, relive. That took balls.
I spent years of drug addiction trying to kill all the memories, and it didn't do anything but cause more problems. But yeah, that's how I lived for a while.
Yeah.
So, random, from your time at Casa, your time at Ivy Ridge, and I just kind of want to just throw this in here because, you know, I feel like we're getting to that point. What is one, whether it be a horrible memory or one thing that you witnessed or thing that you remember from Ivy Ridge that has just stuck with you day in and day out after all this time?
I mean, hands down, that Derek Wood sleep incident is like, that's never going anywhere.
That makes sense.
I have not, I don't know, like, if I hear noises or whatever now, like, it's, yeah, like, my kids know not to wake me up by touching me. That's something that, you know, I didn't want them to have to live with, but it's something that they know to be safe. Don't touch Daddy to wake him up.
Well,
you know, for me, the one memory, the one thing that gets me still after all this time is the sound of magnetic doors shutting when my son was born. And I went outside to go, you know, go get my parents to bring him in and all that. And the very first time that door shut, it sent a chill down my spine. And I was like, oh, so every time I would go to leave the hospital since then, and the door would open, I would make sure I would just book it so I didn't have to hear it. Because every time that door shut, it was like, it messed with me every single time.
See, for me, mine's a weird one. Howling wind.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you have the windows open
through the windows
and the howling. If I hear howling wind, I want to stab my fucking ears out. It drives me up a fucking wall. But
yeah,
I want you to know this. When it comes to the touching thing, you're not alone. For me, it's the same thing. My kids know if Daddy's asleep, you do not touch Dad, and that's from the Ridge and other shit. Mainly Ridge. Like, if I'm asleep and my kids touch me, my wife's done it before, and she does not rub my leg or arm or nothing. Like, she has to talk to me for like 3 minutes first before she even initiates, because I'll hear her, and then I won't have like that jump reaction, because when we were dating, she would do that, and I'd jump, and my hand is cocked back, and it's like, and I like grabbed her by the shirt one night, and I was like, "Oh, it's you. Sorry. Hi." Hug. And she was like, "Dude, what the fuck?" And now
that's why you go to wake him up, you smack him with a spatula.
And he would do that regularly in fucking Virginia, and when he lived with me in New York, because Mariana was like, "I don't know how to wake him up. He ain't waking up." And Jack was just like, "I got you," and went and just whap. And I just remember feeling this slap and standing straight up, like with my fist cocked back, and him just sitting with a spatula in my face, like Zorro, like, "What you gonna do, motherfucker?"
Like, on guard.
Like, God damn it! Like, just being mad as fuck, bro.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know. That's one thing that definitely will always stick with me. I don't know.
I mean, you don't really have a choice with that, though. I mean, like, having that abrupt of a situation happen, especially after coming from somewhere like Casa, and how more lax it was than Ivy Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to Ivy Ridge, and one of your first real experiences with a dorm parent is getting yeeted out of your bed and thrown against a wall, is definitely something that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the time there. Because if that can happen when you're sleeping, what the hell else is going to happen?
I never slept through another motion alarm my entire time there. My sleep has gotten deeper now over the years. Like I can still sleep deep and I can sleep through loud noises now.
I can
I've slept
sleep
through like
anywhere.
I can sleep through, yeah. And you know, my buddy Rhett makes fun of me all the time. He's like, you have an ungodly gift where you can just be like, all right, I'm going to sleep. Shut your eyes and go to sleep.
Yep.
What gets me there most of the time is like I push myself to the limit, and then when I'm ready to go to sleep, like it's like I'm shutting off.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That's how I do it.
Yep. When I
Yeah,
get to that point,
that's typical.
when I get to that point, a hand grenade can go off, and I'm just gonna roll over, maybe.
Yeah,
I
but you
slept
know
through
what? That
fire
sleep,
alarms.
that sleep
Fire
is
alarms at
so
hotels.
good, though. That sleep is so good. When you get to that point, because then it's almost something we all do. You get to that point where you're just going and going and going so much, and then finally your body's like, you need to do something. And then when you get that moment, that 32 seconds of peace, it's like that. Now it's time.
Exactly.
But like, if I hear a door or my kid's footsteps or anybody walk
Yep.
or a sound outside, I'm instant wide awake, ready to roll, and ready to fucking like destroy something.
I'm not anymore.
Like it's
See, the worst thing happens to me, and here's the thing. So when I first fall asleep, I'll be all right for the most part. And but you know, having kids, you hear things and you're like, what the hell's going on? What happens to me now is, you know, that when you're at that twilight stage, when you're just about to get to sleep and you know you're going to sleep, it's like, any noise at that point in time, if it's like anything above the background ambient noise, any noise that happens at that point in time, I go full alert mode and I'm awake for another 24 hours, and I hate it.
That's terrible. I sleep with headphones in. My wife sleeps with a white noise machine. I can't stand it, so I sleep with headphones in. I play different things, mostly The Sopranos or The Office.
Yo, The Sopranos, that's a fucking shout right there.
So today, and this happens every time I have one of like these things where I have like an interview where I'm supposed to speak on this Ivy Ridge topic. So today was the episode with Vito Jr. where he got sent away to the school.
Yep.
And it's like every time I see that episode, first of all, my heart breaks for Vito Jr. because, you know, like he was in a terrible situation. And you see the patterns of acting out and all that after he went through everything that he went through. And then they're shipping him off to, a school. And it's just like, it's so reminiscent of my family, you know, like the just dumbassness of it, I guess, all of it. But it always makes me think, like, that's why I have to keep speaking out on it, because like The Sopranos put it on there like this was a normal thing. Like this was something that like happens all the time and is okay. Like, I don't know. Did anybody not send their kid to a troubled teen school because of the Sopranos episode? I don't think so.
No.
They might have got the idea to send them to a troubled teen school because they watched the Sopranos episode.
No, but it's funny you bring that up, though, because me and Jack have talked about this. One of the reasons why we think it was so popular and continued to stay popular and relevant for so long is because of, like, Dr. Phil, Oprah, Dr. Oz, shit like that, where they were sending
bullshit
kids
therapy
to these fucking programs.
Yes.
And, like, there wasn't coverage of them. There's still barely ever any coverage of them unless it's Paris Hilton or a documentary.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that one of the kids that was sent to one of those facilities sued Dr. Phil, and
Bad
the Dr.
Barbie.
Phil show settled.
Bad Baby.
Oh, she did? It was her?
The Catch Me Outside girl.
Well, that's awesome. But
her and 2 or 3 other girls, when she calls out Dr. Phil about 3 years ago, she mentions a girl named Katie. That's the one who sued him, and then Bad Baby, I believe, got attached to that.
Okay, cool. I mean, either way, like when I saw Dr. Phil sending kids, I'm like, I don't know. I guess I thought maybe the Dr. Phil show like vetted these places and made sure that they were, you know, like a decent place. Because I'm not saying that like some schools or some kind of like inpatient therapy is a bad idea. Like I probably could have used something like that at the time when I was going through all my shit. Like, I mean, I had puberty hormones and all kinds of just like, I don't know. Yeah, like I was acting out. I don't think I deserved to get sent away for 2 years. Like, I think back on it all the time, and I wish I would have just like stabbed a dorm parent on day one and went to jail. Like, cause it just seems like it would have been an easier time. Like from all my friends that have been to juvie and told me juvie stories, like it sounded like way funner than Ivy Ridge.
Yeah, Quentin says it in the documentary. He was in jail, and it was a 5-star resort compared to the Ridge. Like, if that doesn't fucking tell you what you need to know, I don't know what else really fucking does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that regret will always kind of like sit in me. Like, I never made that like trek to the St. Lawrence River and tried to swim across. I thought about it just about every day, looking out that window in that computer room, watching the sunset and thinking like, man, that just does not look that far. Like, I really think I could swim that. And then telling me like, no way, you'll die. But like, I still think I could have made it.
I remember there was one day where you and Jack both, Jack was in upper level and I didn't know I was going home. Like, it wasn't even a thought. This was like October. And I had just gotten a really, really bad fucking restraint in the fucking bathroom. It was an intervention, and my dorm parent at the time, I'm not going to say his name, but his initials were VB.
Yep.
Had the two of you come talk to me in intervention because he didn't like the way I was talking, and it, like, freaked him out. He didn't know how to calm me down. You came, handed me a mint, and Jack just sat there with his arms crossed and was like...
Creamsavers on deck, baby.
And Jack just goes, what happened? So I told him what happened. He goes, well, what are you saying? Oh, I told him to bounce my head harder off the ground because I wanted my head to crack. And Jack just goes, yeah, that explains why you're here. You're an idiot. And like we all just kind of laughed. And you were like, you good? And I was like, no, I'm going to go dive into that river. And you were like, bro, there's no way you're getting out of here. I was like, probably not, but I'm really going to try. And you were like, no, you're not. Stop it. Like, just, I mean, you were like, stop.
Yeah, thought about it time and time again.
And then you were like, you realize who's on duty tonight, right? And I was like, yes, I got restrained by them. And Jack goes, yeah, pain train. No, you won't make it. And I was like, but please. And you and Jack were both just like, no. And you were like, here's another fucking mint. Stop it. And I was like, okay, I'll stop now. And just like went off into the corner of intervention.
If there's one thing that definitely hasn't changed with him over the years, it's the fact that he still doesn't like logic.
No.
But he does like candy.
No.
But he does like candy.
I hate candy. But you give me a mint or an Altoid and I'm through the fucking roof still. It's like my comfort food now. I don't know. It's weird.
You were trained.
Yeah.
In Ivy Ridge.
By you and fucking Hubs.
It worked.
It worked.
Give the dog a treat. The dog calms down. We were trying to
keep you out of trouble the best we could.
Yeah.
And when you were going to get in trouble, we were at least going to take advantage of it.
Let's make that statement correct. We tried to keep you out of trouble unless our quota was low, and then we would never. Off.
I would never light you up, even if you had no consequences for the day. I'm not about to come over there and light your ass up. There is no way I would have ever done that.
He did it constantly.
Oh, well, you're a dick, Jack. I never did that. I was a pretty chill upper level. I mean, I feel still.
It was only to him, though.
It was only to me, and I knew
it was literally only to him. Because he would sit there and make his little smart-ass comments.
Yeah.
He would make his smart-ass comments, and I'd be like, you're going to keep going? He'd be like, you're not going to do anything about it. Okay.
Every day. Tommy Kumaro was my dude, because I would hook him up with all kinds of mints.
Tommy Kumaro.
And he would be like, I'm about to go sit in study hall all day. Just light me up, and, you're good.
He didn't even need to do that half the time. I mean, he would just walk out of the fucking computer room.
It was me and him, Cesar Mendoza, and...
Oh, my God.
Oh, that kid we call Tupper Lake. Tyler Martin. We call him the tripod.
Yep.
The tripod. And I would just go and hang out with them. I could hit my quota because none of those guys ever gave a shit. None of them ever really tried. Oh. And
no, we were always in there all the time. And then even then, I'd see you and you'd be in our computer lab for something. I'd be like, what's up, bud? And you would just kind of look at me. You'd have like mitts in your hand. I'd be like, however many you need. And you would just walk away.
That's how I hit those like quotas or, kept getting voted up for enforcing the rules or whatever. Like, because I had a handful of different kids in each family that would just basically take them all and, eat them for
do you remember when we started
squad.
To get in trouble? Do you remember when we started to get in trouble as upper levels for throwing out the consequences?
Yes, I remember getting in trouble for that, and then I remember Bob Dozer, riding my dick for, 3 months because I would not give Honesty Family a single fucking correction. I would not would not ever give my family a correction. Not happening.
Oh,
and
you were
those
one of them.
Fucking,
that's awesome.
He wouldn't fucking give me or let me vote up. I was on level 5. I had like 7,000 or 8,000 points, Jack.
Oh my
what
god.
What the fuck?
Yes. That's how many points I had as level 5. That's
dude.
what I'm saying. Like
my mom was
not paying for
points?
anymore. Yeah, because I would sit there and I would keep voting up for level 6 and they would not fucking let me get level 6. I had everything hit and they were like, "Oh, you don't enforce enough rules, you don't fucking do this, you don't do that." Basically, I worked in the kitchen and I cheated in school. Like that's all I really fucking did. I really didn't even work families that often. I spent 90% of my upper level time in the kitchen.
To hear
washing
you
dishes.
had that many points is just mind-boggling, because, like, I couldn't even get to fucking 300 if I fucking tried, bro. Like, and there was times where I tried, the highest amount of points I ever had was 250, and that's not even because I was trying, that's because he snuck them onto my fucking account. Like,
the Washburn admin account? Yeah, I was part of that.
I know. Good old days, man.
Fuck, dude.
Yep. Washburn was the reason. I mean, like, as much hate as I have for dorm parents, Washburn was the reason that I ever started working the program or, like, even had a chance. Because I was like you, Nick. They were lighting me up, and I could never even put up enough points to, like, get anywhere. And as soon as I did, one dick dorm parent would be, like, detoxing off of Coke on a Saturday and fucking come in and light me up, and I go right back to fucking zero. But Washburn, he kept, like, pumping them in my account every single time. Fucking, I remember Gordon Holohan came in one time, right? I'm like, I had been working the program for like 6 months. I finally made it to level 3, and I had like just enough points. Like I think I had like 1,050, and fucking Gordon got me dropped level 3 probation or whatever in like the weekend. And then Washburn came in on Monday and put like 500 fucking points in my account. I was like, all right, you're good. That saved me right there. Like that was it. Like I just continued to work the program. And then Nick, once you got upper levels, they really didn't give you corrections. Like very rare. I got a.
Unless you were talking to girls.
Yeah, I got the one after all of Jack's fucking girl drama shit and everything.
No. I was the fucking scapegoat. I was the scapegoat because it was either blame me.
Was all up in that.
It was either blame me or everybody was getting dropped.
Not me, because I was not involved in that shit. But after all that shit happened, I got dropped for fucking giving Monica extra oatmeal in line because they would limit how much food we were like. The girls did not get the same portions as us. Like I want that fucking stated because I feel like that was left out in the documentary. But like, I don't know, they treated the girls like shit. So Chef Chester's oatmeal. I'm working the kitchen. Monica's my girl. I give her a little extra oatmeal. I forget who I didn't remember most of the female staff. One of them flips the fuck out and gives me a correction, turns it into a cat 3, and I went on probation. I want to say one of the dorm parents got a drop to a cat 2, and I didn't actually get dropped. But that was really the only time that I got in any kind of trouble as an upper level. And then the 2 drops, one from Garvey and one from fucking John Free.
Which you told him to go fuck himself for. So
yep. And Garvey is more than welcome to go fuck himself as well.
You heard it here, folks, on the PorchFitcks podcast. Randy Garvey could go fuck himself. Love, Josh Hubler. All right, but aside from all that, okay, you've done a lot of growing personally and have accomplished a lot since leaving Ivy Ridge, and you are now involved in a nonprofit. You found yourself a best friend. You've mentioned him twice on the podcast, Rhett. Tell everybody about this nonprofit, where you are now, what you're doing with yourself, like how you got out of all this shit and you are now a prosperous fucking human with a loving wife, kids, you're a fucking awesome dad, like, and you got this great nonprofit. Explain this to us. What's that nonprofit and how'd that come about? Let's start with that.
Yeah, so I am a board member for the Humanity Preservation Foundation. That's my best friend Rhett's nonprofit. He started that after he came out about his story of childhood sexual abuse. He went on the Oprah show and told his story, and then started HPF. We help victims of childhood sexual abuse, try to get people resources, domestic violence. We run anti-bullying campaigns and print up tons of posters and mail them to schools and stuff like that.
Dope.
And then like we kind of shifted. So like Rhett had all of his experience with his stuff, but then like when he started getting exposed to my like world of addiction and trauma and like institutional abuse and PTSD and all that stuff, like it was new for him. So like that's when we started to like shift, and I had to make changes in my recovery to make everything work. And we started our own program called Recover Your Way. So it's like under the umbrella of HPF, but we operate Zoom meetings a few times a week and give people a chance to just like come on and have a support group to follow. You know, it's not. I don't want to say that traditional meetings are a bad environment or whatever, but I think that sometimes they can be toxic, and we take out that entire element because it's recover your way. So we open up to any kind of recovery you want to do. So if it's, traditional 12 steps or recovery without God or rewired and rewiring your brain, like that's what you do. So we open up all those doors instead of having the judgment of like, this is a one-way program or this is an abstinence-based program. We wanted to open up as many doors and windows to recovery as possible, because like my motto is dead people don't recover. So
it's a great motto.
And it's facts. Like
yeah.
I've lost too many good friends to addiction. Like, and addiction's just a symptom of trauma. I mean, and some people's trauma is worse. Some people might have been bullied, and I was in Ivy Ridge for 2 years, but it doesn't make their trauma any less.
Facts.
So yeah, we kicked that off and opened that up, and then we wanted to make sure that people pursue life after recovery. So like I felt like in the traditional programs, like it stops at like recovery. They're not supposed to give you life advice or financial advice or whatever. It says it in all the literature.
Yeah, I mean, that mainly comes down to like your sponsor. Like you
yes,
have that
if your
like,
sponsor wants to take that on.
Yeah.
Yes, if your sponsor wants to take that on, then that's up to them. But that's not what the program's there for. So what we did is we set up these new kind of like seminars, but like on Zoom, and so that people can learn like life skills. So like banking, how to write a resume, how to look for a job, and maybe like what companies are hiring felons. Like that's a big problem in the addiction world. Like people have a record, but that doesn't mean that they're not trying to turn their lives around, and they still need to make an income and contribute to society. So we try to pull down as many barriers as we can to people's recovery after they get off the drugs.
What does HPF stand for?
It's the Humanity Preservation Foundation.
So, in case anybody missed that.
Yeah, definitely check us out.
No, I mean, 100%.
We do a lot of stuff. We're always taking volunteer. We're completely nonprofit. Nobody gets paid for anything that we do. It's all volunteer.
Awesome. And like, do you guys get donations into the nonprofit to help fund like the printing projects and to help the awareness and whatnot?
We do fundraisers. We do, different kinds of projects. Rhett's 55th birthday just came up, and like he kind of like put that as, don't give me a gift, just donate type thing. And like we raised a bunch of money for that to kind of put back into the bank. And then like we'll run different kind of projects. We've been writing a lot of grants, so we're kind of looking into
very cool.
That possibly being a new fund. We've gotten grants before, and we're looking to get like a recurring grant where we'll have a steady income to where we can launch programs consecutively every year.
That'd be phenomenal.
Awesome.
When we go to post this, I'm definitely gonna make sure I get a link from you if you guys have one for donating. So for anybody watching right now while we're recording, make sure you guys go check out the Spotify and YouTubes and whatnot, because once this gets uploaded, I will have a donation link in those descriptions. So if anybody wants to donate to the HPF, Josh's foundation, and help spread a little bit more awareness and help somebody out, fucking make sure you guys check that out.
Yeah, Rhett really went to the next level for us survivors. Like after the Paris Hilton thing came out, like I went on first back in it was 5 years ago, and told my story. There was a school, the Glen Mills School in Pennsylvania, that was, had been rated for, abuse and everything else. And me and Rhett were talking about it. And that's when I kind of started to like tell him a little bit more of my Ivy Ridge story. and I went on a show to tell my story. But then after Paris Hilton came and did her thing and Breaking Code Silence came out, like Brett launched an entire platform, like his show on RVN TV. It's called Hands Off, and he does like weekly interviews. He launched an entire platform for kids to, or survivors to come on and tell their story, and seriously got the word out. Like
that's fantastic.
That was big. Yeah, it was big for a lot of people. So that was a kickoff, and now now that the program has dropped, he's starting all over again and opening it back up for more people that want to tell their stories. And again, like he does all this stuff. He doesn't make $1. Like my man drives all the way out to the studio once a week to do these interviews, just like out of the kindness of his heart. It's crazy, but it's awesome that there's people like that in this world.
Yeah, facts.
Absolutely.
I mean, from the little that me and Jack have talked with him, man, like he's pretty fucking inspiring. I'll tell you that right now. Like as soon as we mentioned like how we would love to start a nonprofit, he was like, "Bro, I got you," and just like he listed like 30 things. I was like, "Whoa, hold on, calm down, bud, calm down." And he just laughs and he was like, "Okay, I'm sorry." He goes, "I get excited." I'm like, "Bro, I am too. This is awesome." Like, so thank you for that connection to him, because dude, he's a phenomenal human being. He's awesome. He's hilarious too.
And he's really good at like putting people in touch with other people that they, need to be in touch with or whatever to kind of make things happen. So definitely a good resource to lean on.
That's fucking, dude, that's so dope to hear. I think as far as the time goes, I think that's about it for the main part of the episode. Is it there, Jack? If I'm looking at the time
yeah,
right
we're at
here.
about an hour 16, so
This is what we're going to do. We're not going to end streaming, and we're going to keep recording, but this is going to be the end of the main interview with our man Josh Hubler. Let's give it up for our boy Joshy there. We appreciate you coming on, brother, and sharing your story. But we are going to continue a Q&A here on Twitch and on Kick, so if you guys want to stick around and ask any questions, feel free to do so. For those of you listening on Spotify, YouTube, or whatever other platform we're on, because we're on a million of them, just remember, you've been passively manipulated, and we love you, and to drop a follow, subscribe, and comment below. And thank you guys for hanging out.